Okay. Good morning. So continue from the post scenario of individual Satyagraha. So we started talking about whether India should support Britain in war or not. That was $1 million issue. And we have seen the differences in opinion between Gandhi, Nehru and Subhash regarding the launching of the support issue with the England or to remain neutral or to oppose Britain. So all three had given their opinions. So here Subhash Chandra Bose became President of Indian National Congress in 1938 in Haripura session. He became the President of Indian National Congress on Haripura session. Haripura is in Gujarat. So 1938. Subhash was in favor of radical change in Congress. So the approach of the Congress party, the leadership and the new objective has to be redefined. So radical change in the Congress. So the differences already became visible during the time of CWC meeting at Wardha. Subhash wanted mass movement to start immediately. He wanted to take support from the difficulties of Britain in the war. But Gandhi said that difficulties of Britain is not opportunity for Indian national movement. Gandhi said that launching mass movement would give message to the world that we are against democratic West and indirectly we are supporting Nazis. So this is a problem with the Gandhi and Subhash both. So differences was running very high. Secondly, Subhash also said that non-violence alone would not lead India to independence. So he was in favor of changing the approach of Indian National Congress. But he was facing a huge challenge from the Gandhi. 1939, Tripuri session of Indian National Congress. Subhash wanted re-election as a president. Subhash wanted re-election as a president of Congress. Re-election as a president of Congress. (1939) Tripuri session. Re-election as a president of Congress. But Gandhi supported Pattabhi Sitaramaiah. Pattabhi Sitaramaiah. In election, Subhas defeated Sitaramaiah. But due to opposition of Gandhi and Gandhian supported members, the thoughts of the Gandhian supporter, the opposition came from them also in the CWC, Congress Working Committee. So due to opposition of Gandhi and opposition in the CWC, those who had faith in the Gandhian thought, Subhash Chandra Bose, he resigned from presidentship and primary membership of Congress. Presidentship and primary membership of Congress. This is called Tirupuri crisis. Tirupuri crisis. Since elected president resigned, therefore it is called Tirupuri crisis. Subhas established a new party called Forward Bloc. In 1939. And the opinion of Subhas was to take help from anti-British forces that is Germany, Italy and Japan for independence of India. For independence of India. Anti-British forces for independence of India. That is Germany, Italy and Japan. Germany, Italy and Japan. Subhas wanted to launch the mass movement. But Gandhi said, look at the very fantastic statement of opposition of Gandhi of the design of Subhas to take the help from Germany, Italy and Japan. Gandhi said that Indian national movement is not strictly anti-British movement. Not strictly an anti-British movement. Indian national movement is not strictly an anti-British movement. It is ideological movement against imperialism and colonialism. So, taking help from one imperialist, to defeat another, taking help from one imperialist to defeat another would be ideological compromise. Taking one imperialist to defeat other will be ideological compromise. Will be ideological compromise. So, Subhash Chandra Bose left Indian National Congress, and thereafter we will study about the Subhas in Indian National Army. After independence, we'll take the separate chapter for that Indian National Army. But his role was very important because once he fled away from India, and with the help of Japan, with the help of Germany, he reached Japan. And then with the help of Japan, he launched attack on India, attack on the British territory to take the control and independence of India. So we'll talk about the Indian National Army. After independence. But here what we have seen that the individual satyagraha had started 1940 onward. But from 1940 to 1942, there are certain events which progressed in such a way that prompted Gandhi to change his position. The Gandhi who opposed the launching of mass civil disobedience movement now wanted to restart with a massive mass movement called Quit India movement. So what factors that prompted Gandhi to take the Quit India movement? So we can give the heading Quit India movement. Quit India movement. Quit India movement was a comprehensive movement. 1942. What factors that led to the beginning of Quit India movement? Factors. First factor, that is war in Burma. Against Japan, English was fighting in Burma. So Indian soldiers was put on front. Some soldiers were placed in security of British soldiers as a human shield. Human shield. Security of British soldiers as a human shield. Human shield. So, casualty of Indian soldiers and humiliation. Casualty and humiliation of Indian soldier was very high. Casualty and humiliation of Indian soldiers was very high. So it had created mass anger in India. It had created mass anger in India. Second, after fall of Singapore, retreating Indian soldiers retreating Indian soldiers they were mistreated by the British. Retreating Indian soldiers were mistreated by the British. There were separate roads called White Road and Black Road for British and Indian soldiers. There was a marking. So, those soldiers were fighting for the British. Indian soldiers, they faced humiliation while coming back to India after fall of Singapore. After fall of Singapore. So, White Road for the British and Black Road for the Indian soldiers. Third, during the war, in fact, British had created buffer stock for the soldiers to availability of the foods and stock was created for the soldiers. So entire northeastern areas in many parts of India there was buffer stock of the food for the soldiers. There was a food crisis in these areas because there was a lack of availability of goods in the market because British had created buffer stock for the soldiers. So the British government had created buffer stock of food. Buffer stock of food. Buffer stock of food for the soldiers. For the soldiers. Buffer stock of food for the soldiers. Resulted in famine in Bengal. Food crisis resulted in famine in Bengal. Therefore, the discontentment of the people was very high. Therefore, discontentment of the people was very high. Discontentment of the people was very high. So buffer stock. Fourth, point. Atlantic Charter. Atlantic meeting was organized Atlantic meeting was organized to create the new world order. To create new world order. New world order. The objective of Atlantic meeting was abolition of imperialism and colonialism. Abolition of imperialism and colonialism. Abolition of imperialism and colonialism in the war. After the war. Imperialism and colonialism after the war. After the war. Imperialism and colonialism after the war. Atlantic Charter बोलते हैं. After the war. But India was placed exception to Atlantic Charter. India was placed exception to Atlantic Charter. So obviously, the same Gandhi, he was saying that our struggle is not against the Britain, but we are in the ideological conflict against imperialism and colonialism. So he was having the global perspective. But what happened here, that altogether the dimension was that how to impose the facts, that whole world is biased against India. So therefore, obviously, the Gandhi had changed the stand that we don't need to think about the world community. We have to do our own. And therefore, he decided to go for the mass movement. Look, leaders don't take the decision. Leaders take the decision in the perspective and sentiments of the people whom he is representing. And that is the reason why the Gandhi was also taking the same stand. So this is what is the main formula, that leaders, that is more important in the capacity. So here, exception, India was placed exception to Atlantic Charter. And this is the reason why that Gandhi, he gave up the thought of no launching of the civil disobedience movement or the mass movement. He was ready for the mass movement again. He was ready for the mass movement again. Atlantic Charter. Fifth, failure of the Cripps mission. Failure of Cripps mission, 1942. Failure of the Cripps mission, 1942. So the failure of Cripps mission. Cripps mission was sent to India. Cripps mission was sent to India under pressure from the Allied partners. Under pressure from the Allied partners. Under pressure from the Allied partners. Came to India under pressure from the Allied partners like China, America, under pressure from the Allied partners. Sir Stafford Cripps. Sir Stafford Cripps. He was law member in the Viceroy's Executive Council. He was the member of the War Cabinet of Britain. So he was a cabinet minister. So member of the War Cabinet of Britain came to India. In order to solve the constitutional crisis, at the same time, to get the support of India in the war, So according to the proposal of Cripps, according to the proposal of Cripps, an Indian union with a dominion status. An Indian union with a dominion status would be set up in India, would be free to devise its relationship with the Commonwealth and free to participate in UN and other international bodies. The progress of UN had already started after Atlantic Charter. So therefore, an Indian Union with a dominion status would be set up. It would be free to decide its relations with the Commonwealth and free to participate in UN and other international bodies. After the end of the war, a Constituent Assembly would be convened to frame a new constitution. Members of this assembly, partly elected by the provincial assemblies through proportional representation and partly nominated by the princes. Partly nominated by the princes. After the end of the war, a Constituent Assembly would be convened to frame a new constitution. Members of this constitution will be elected by the provincial assemblies through proportional representation and partly nominated by the provinces. Nominated by provinces. So now what is the difference when the August offer was made? That time also the constitution was proposed that Constituent Assembly will be there. But that time it was mainly Indians, means British may take involvement, and this is now only Indians. So now the Constitution of India will be framed by Indians. So what is difference here? We have the formula called only Indians. So now this Constituent Assembly will be constituted only by the Indians. The British won't take part in the Constituent Assembly. This is the proposal sent by the Cripps. So difference between August offer and the Cripps proposal is that is only Indians. Here Cripps proposed only Indians and the August offer was mainly Indians. The British government would accept Constitution under two conditions. Accept Constitution under two conditions. Any province not willing to join the union could have a separate constitution and form a separate union. That means it is an appeasement to Muslim League. The demand of the Muslim League indirectly British always try to push, and obviously how much Muslim League would be encouraged, that would be difficult for the partition plan, that independence of India. So British try to complicate the partition and independence of India, try to complicate the independence of India by pushing the partition plan. After 1940s, British tried to complicate the India's independence by pushing the partition formula. After 1940s, British tried to complicate the independence of India by pushing the Muslim League and the partition formula. The new constitution making body and the British government would negotiate a treaty to effect the transfer of power and to safeguard the racial and religious minorities. In the meantime, defense of India would remain in British hands and the government general's power could remain intact. So Congress had many objections. Congress called the Cripps proposal, according to Gandhi, Cripps proposal was like post-dated check. Post-dated check. Cripps proposal was like post-dated check. Cripps proposal was like post-dated check. In which Nehru added the word post-dated check on a crashing bank. Post-dated check on a crashing bank. Nehru added the word on a post-dated check on a crashing bank. On a crashing bank. Nehru added the word post-dated check on a crashing bank. So after failure of Cripps mission, the background of Quit India movement had created. So failure of the Cripps mission is an immediate reason for the beginning of Quit India movement. Failure of Cripps mission was adequate, immediate reason for the beginning of Quit India movement. The word Quit India movement, the word Quit India was coined by Yusuf Meher Ali. The word Quit India was coined by Yusuf Meher Ali. He also coined the term Simon Go Back. So Yusuf Meher Ali was very good in coining the terms Quit India movement. Gandhi called the meeting of All India Congress Committee, AICC, called the meeting of All India Congress Committee All India Congress Committee at Bombay to pass the Quit India resolution. To pass Quit India resolution on 8th August 1942. August 1942. In this historic speech, Gandhi gave a mantras, do or die. Do or die. That is, optimum intensity you must impose to carry forward the independence. Optimum intensity. So he gave the mantra, do or die. He addressed all sections of Indian society. He addressed all sections of Indian society. Gandhi addressed all sections of Indian society regarding the role in Quit India movement. So Gandhi's instruction government servant do not resign but declare allegiance to the Congress. Resign but declare your allegiance to the Congress. Soldiers, do not leave the army, but do not fire on our own people. Do not leave the army, but do not fire on compatriots, means our own people. Our own people. Students, if confident, leave studies. A student always confident, anytime confident. If confident, leave his studies. Peasants, if zamindars are anti-government, pay mutually agreed rent. If zamindars are pro-government, do not pay the rent. If zamindars are pro-government, do not pay the rent. Princely estates. Support the masses. And accept sovereignty of your people. Peoples of princely state support the ruler only if he is anti-government. Declare yourself part of Indian Union. Declare yourself as part of Indian nation. So that means both princes and the princely estates was taken up, has to take the stand. Gandhi instructed them. But look at the last sentence, that what is the fantastic sentence used by Gandhi? Gandhi followed up with the no famous exhortation. He said, here is the mantra, a short, that one I give you. You may imprint it in your hearts and let every breath of your give expression to it. The mantra is do or die. So maximum intensity has to be there while performing the asset during the Quit India movement. Performing the asset during Quit India movement. Quit India movement. Look at the $1 million statement made by Gandhi. This is something very inspiring, dedicated. We shall either free India or die in the attempt. We shall not live to see the perpetuation of our slavery. Shall not live to see the perpetuation of our slavery. We shall either free India or die in the attempt. We shall not live to see the perpetuation of our slavery. This is a huge in terms of giving motivation to Indian nationalism. Motivation to Indian nationalism. We shall either free India or die in the attempt, but we shall not live to see the perpetuation of our slavery. Perpetuation of our slavery. So Gandhi had made it very clear, we shall either free India or die in the attempt. We shall not live to see the perpetuation of our slavery. Perpetuation of our slavery. So, Quit India movement had started, but 9th January, early morning, government did not wait it and arrested 9th August. The next morning, 1942, government did not wait it for long. Government did not wait it for long. And arrested all the leaders of Congress. Congress was declared as illegal organization. Indian National Congress was declared as illegal organization. Indian National Congress was declared as illegal organization. Illegal organization. So illegal organization. So INC declared it as an illegal organization. There was massive participation of students and youth in both urban and rural areas. It was a pan-India movement. It was pan-India movement. There was a massive participation of youth and students. Pan-India movement. They targeted British communication system. British communication system. Like uprooting of railway track, cutting of telegraph wire, putting boulders on the road. So uprooting of railway track, cutting of telegraph wire simply mean what? That wanted to disrupt the British communication system so that Indians would not get, means British military would not be connected, will not move faster to suppress the revolt of Indians. So British communication system was targeted. Since all the leaders were in jail, therefore Quit India movement in fact became the leaderless. It was a leaderless movement. Because there were no leaders to guide the rebellion. Formally it was Gandhi, but there were no leaders to guide the rebellion, so it was a leaderless movement. At many places, intensity was so high that British had created, intensity of the movement was so high that Indians had created parallel government. Parallel government. Intensity was so high that Indians had created parallel government like Balia, Satara, Tamluk, Midnapur, so these are the places where independent government of Free India was established. Independent government of Free India was established. Balia, Satara, Tamluk, Midnapur, Talcher also. Talcher, Odisha. Odisha. Talcher, Odisha. Usha Mehta, she was very active during the Quit India movement. Usha Mehta, she started working underground radio. So she established underground radio. Usha Mehta established underground radio to guide the rebellions. Jayaprakash Narayan, he fled away from the jail. He went to Nepal and constituted Azad Dasta. Azad Dasta. Azad Dasta. Azad Dasta, and declared guerrilla warfare against British. Guerrilla warfare against British. By 1944, Quit India movement was suppressed by British. Guerrilla warfare. So by 1944, Quit India movement was suppressed by British. An official sources said that not less than 10,000 people had died. Death of Indians during this movement. Although British successfully suppressed the Quit India movement, but it forced British to realize that their days in India are numbered. So only few days left. The intensity of Quit India movement forced British to realize that their days in India are numbered. So only few days left. After this movement, the British focused on the policy of divide and quit. The intensity of the British policy was to go for policy of divide and quit. Policy of divide and quit. So their days in India are numbered. The policy of British was to go for policy of divide and quit. So the reason that why Gandhi, initially in the beginning of the war, Gandhi had opinion that we should not go for the mass movement, because launching mass movement will give the message to the world that we are indirectly supporting the Nazis and putting the Britain in trouble. But after Atlantic Charters and other discriminatory posture made by the British government in India, we have seen the circumstances, we have discussed about the causes. So why Gandhi geared up for the mass movement, despite the fact that he had initial reluctance? The circumstances had changed. I told you that leaders don't take the decision. Actually, the people's sentiments was honored by the leader. So by 1941 to 42, the intensity of the people was running so high. Obviously, the Gandhi will have to think and rethink about his position regarding the declaration of mass movement or not. By the time Subhash Chandra Bose had already escaped from India and through Soviet Union, he went to Japan, Germany and Japan, and then finally mass movement. Finally, he launched an aggressive Indian National Army campaign to invade over India. So INC did not accept the Cripps proposal that the first offer was Dominion status. Congress expected independence as per the Lahore resolution. Secondly, any union or any province can make the separate union, that is indication of the partition of India. So this is the main factor that British Congress had opposed Cripps mission. Congress at least wanted that British should concede at this time of crisis the basic demand of Indian independence. The Muslim League opposed the concept of All India Federation. The All India Federation should not be there, so opposed the concept of All India Federation. And demanded that there should be separate constituent assembly for Pakistan. So this is how the Jinnah and others had created the atmosphere. Okay, Biswajit, this is your question. I think you got it. So Quit India movement, divide and quit. So it forced British to go for thinking that their days in India are numbered. And then the policy of British had also shifted from policy of dominion status to the policy of divide and quit. Now British was more intent to go for the policy of divide and quit. There was extent of the mass participation. If you look at, there was a massive participation of students, youth participated in large number. Participation of women was also very high, particularly school and college girls actively participated. Workers went on strikes and faced repression. Peasants concentrated their offensive on symbols of authority. And there was complete absence of anti-zamindar violence. Even some zamindars also participated. So almost all sections of Indian society, the youth, women, workers, peasants, had actively contributed in the mass movement. They all had a role to play in the nationalist consciousness. Even the government officials, as advised by Gandhi not to resign from the services, but declare your allegiance with the Congress. So here, the government officials, especially those belonging to lower levels in police and administration, participated, resulting in the erosion of government loyalty. So that means police and the administrative staff, those who should be considered as loyal to the British, they also participated in the movement. And therefore the loyalty to the government was eroded. Large section of Indians, those who earlier remained loyal, they no more remain loyal to the British. The Muslims did not participate in large number, but it helped by giving central to underground activists. Muslims, because of the Muslim League's call for the Pakistan 1940 Lahore session. So normally the middle class remained indifferent. So Muslims helped by giving shelter to the underground activists, and there were no communal classes during the movement. Communists, despite their anti-war line, felt the irresistible pull of the government. Communist Party did not participate in Quit India movement. Communist Party did not participate in Quit India movement, did not support the Quit India movement because of alliance between Britain and USSR in Second World War. USSR, the father and the ideal of all the communists, father and ideal of all the communists. So princely states the showed low-key responses. There's less participation in the princely states. Less participation in the princely states. So Britain and US are. So princely states showed low-key response. So Quit India movement was All India movement. And the movement was strongest in Bihar, followed by UP and Maharashtra. In many parts of India, there was no British government working because of the intensity of the movement. British authority disappeared in parts of UP, Bihar, West Bengal, Orissa, Andhra, Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra. Students' agitation and the peasant movements in Bihar made it a strong movement. Theoretically, this movement was led by Gandhi, but in practice, it was in the hands of revolutionaries and the local leaders. So it was in the hands of revolutionaries and the local leaders. First time, Gandhi did not criticize the violence and did not taken back the movement also. So Gandhi did not criticize the violence and did not take the movement back also, as Gandhi did during the non-cooperation movement. So he criticized did not criticize the violence and at the same time did not take the movement back also. So no criticism by Gandhi regarding the violence. Regarding the violence. He did not take back the movement as he did during the non-cooperation movement. As he did during the non-cooperation movement. So no criticism of Gandhi regarding the violence. And he did not take back the movement, as he did during the non-cooperation movement. As he did during the non-cooperation movement. So after Quit India movement, Rajgopalachari formula. Rajgopalachari formula. Quit India movement, we have the Rajgopalachari formula. The leader of Congress, Rajgopalachari, he tried to solve the constitutional issues and the Hindu, Muslim League and the Congress issues. Rajgopalachari said, first point, Muslim League should cooperate Congress in getting independence. Muslim League should cooperate Congress in getting independence. After independence, we will discuss about Pakistan. Muslim League should cooperate Congress in getting independence. After independence, we will discuss about Pakistan. Rajgopalachari formula, 1944. To sort out the communal issues and the problems between Congress and the Muslim League. After independence, we will discuss about Pakistan. Muslim League should support Congress in getting independence. Muslim League should agree to participate in interim government. Should. Second point, agree to participate in interim government. Agree to participate in interim government. Third, after the war, a commission will be constituted. Commission will be constituted to demarcate Muslim majority district. To demarcate Muslim majority district. Muslim majority district. Muslim majority district. Muslim majority district. Fourth, a referendum will be conducted. Referendum will be conducted. Referendum will be conducted in these districts. On the basis of adult franchise. On the basis of adult franchise. So referendum will be conducted in these districts on the basis of adult franchise. Fifth, non-Muslims will also vote to express the opinion for Pakistan. Non-Muslim will also vote to express the opinion for Pakistan. To express the opinion for Pakistan. All parties must express its position regarding Pakistan. Must express its position regarding Pakistan. If Pakistan is created, then there will be one union and two federation. There may be one union and two federations. One union and two federations. One union and two federations. If Pak is created, one union and two federations. Means there will be common defense, foreign affairs, communication, and currency of both the federation. So common defense, foreign affairs, communication, and currency system. So if Pakistan is created, two federation and one union. Union will constitute defense, foreign affairs, communication, and currency system. Communication and currency system. So one union and two federations. If Pakistan is created. On the basis of this formula, there was Gandhi-Jinnah talk. But Jinnah outrightly rejected the proposal. Outrightly rejected the proposal. Jinnah outrightly rejected the proposal. Jinnah demanded sovereign Pakistan without any allegiance with India. Without any allegiance with India. Jinnah demanded sovereign Pakistan without any allegiance with India, no relation with India. He said, non-Muslims should not allow to vote. Non-Muslim should not for Pakistan. Non-Muslim should not be allowed to vote for Pakistan. So Rajagopalachari formula failed. We have the Weibull plan or the Simla plan. (1945). So Viceroy Weibull invited leaders of Congress and Muslim League at Simla. This plan is considered as the first step towards the transfer of power. Invited leaders of Congress and Muslim League to find the deadlock, to find the solution of the constitutional deadlock and sort out the communal issues. Constitutional deadlock and sort out the communal issues. Viceroy Weibull invited leaders of Congress and Muslim League at Simla. The reason behind the beginning of discussion was that there was proposed election in England. Prime Minister Churchill wanted to prove that his government is very serious on tackling the issues of India. His government is very serious in tackling the issues of India. Tackling the issues of India. So there was proposed election in England after the war. So Prime Minister Churchill wanted to show that his government is very serious to tackle the issues with India. Second, Japan was still fighting war with America in Second World War. So World War was continued here in Asia. Japan was still fighting the war with America. So there was imminent Japanese threat over India. The threat of Japan over India. Imminent Japanese threat over India. So still it was looking that Japan will invade over India. So support from the Congress and the nationalists was still needed for the British. So there was possibilities of Japanese invasion over India during the World War. So support from the Congress and the nationalist was the need of the British. Was the need of the British. Threat of Japan. So during the Simla conference, as per the proposal of Lord Babel, reform in Viceroy's Executive Council. Viceroy's Executive Council. So Viceroy's Executive Council, the most powerful decision-making body. So reform in Viceroy's Executive Council. It will only comprised of Indians. The council will be constituted only by Indians. Only comprised by Indians. Viceroy and military commander will be British. British. There will be equal number of Hindus and the Muslims. Hindus and the Muslims in the council. Equal number of Hindus and the Muslims in the council. Equal number of Hindus and Muslims in the council. So, equal number of Hindus and the Muslims in the council. But equal number of Hindus and Muslims in the council. But the Jinnah forwarded a condition that Muslim member in Viceroy Executive Council will be nominated by Muslim League. Muslim members in the Viceroy Executive Council will be nominated by Muslim League. Congress may nominate the Hindus. Congress may nominate the Hindus. Therefore, the Congress rejected the proposal. Congress rejected the proposal. Congress had objection that Congress should also nominate the Muslims. And secondly, the British should use the word Hindus rather than caste Hindus. Hindus rather than caste Hindus. Caste Hindus means the depressed class should have a separate representation. So British should use the word Hindus rather than caste Hindus. So caste Hindus had a separate representation. Therefore, the Congress made the objection. Congress made the objection that the Muslim League should also, the Muslim members should also be appointed by Congress. The Muslims is not only responsible for represented by the Muslim League. But Viceroy Babel himself announced the failure of Simla conference. That means it became very wide open that things which is not acceptable to the Jinnah, that thing would not work under the British. So that means Jinnah had got absolute veto power in handling the affairs of the Indians. Jinnah had got absolute veto power in handling the affairs of Indians. Jinnah had got absolute power in handling the affairs of Indians. So election of Provincial and Central Assembly of 1945-46. The British government announced that elections should be there in India as well. Elections should be there in India as well. So the provincial election of 1946. Election of 1945-46. The performance of Congress in this election 95-46. So 91% of the non-Muslim votes was taken by 91% of the non-Muslim votes was taken by Congress. It captured 57 out of 102 seats in the Central Assembly. In the provincial elections, it got majority in most provinces except in Bengal, Sindh and Punjab. Except in Bengal, Sindh and Punjab. This is a fact file. So look at the condition of election. 91% of the non-Muslim vote. It captured 57 out of 100 seats in the Central Assembly. In the provincial elections, it got a majority in most provinces except in Bengal, Sindh and Punjab. So Congress got majority of votes, not majority in the assembly. Like NWFP, Northwestern Frontier Province, and Assam, which were being claimed for Pakistan. Claimed for Pakistan, including NWFP and Assam, which were being claimed for Pakistan. The performance of Muslim League, it got 86.6% of the Muslim votes, and it captured all the 30 reserved seats in the Central Assembly. So Muslim League was absolutely voted by Muslims for the first time, which is in contrast with the election of 1937. In 1937, Muslims did not voted, and here. So Muslim League's performance, it got 86.6% of the Muslim votes. It captured all the 30 reserved seats in the Central Assembly. It is 6.6% of the Muslim votes. It captured all the 30 reserved seats in the Central Assembly. So Congress got 91% of the non-Muslim votes. So you can imagine that Muslim League can claim that they are representative of the Muslims. So Muslim League's performance, the Muslim League absolutely after this voting pattern can claim that Muslim League is a representative of the Muslims. Muslim League is a representative of Muslims. In the Central Assembly. So, okay, we will see that how Muslim League would perform from here, demanding the separate constituent assembly for Pakistan, because after 40 years Muslim League can claim that Muslim League is representative of the Muslim League. Muslim League is representative of the Muslims. So we'll see the story after the break.